Hello everybody, Caventia here, but you can call me Cav. As you can see, we now have the date for the International Aerospace Expo. On top of that, you may notice some familiarity with the colour scheme for the IAE this year, not to mention the pattern. I don't know about you, but I don't think it's a coincidence, especially when you check out the graffiti. Stop the invasion. Don't buy Alien. I think that this is the year I finally get my Gatak Raylan. On the first day of Citcon2953, many ships were showcased, including one straight to flyable, video linked in the top corner, 3 variants of the Zeus 2 available for pledge, and a number of ships were promised to be in players' hands by the end of this year. And finally, 10 new ships were teased that's coming over the next year, and we'll cover them all in this episode. While I was recording this and about to hit upload, the IAE 2953 event page on Robert Space Industries website actually went live. It's all of this beautiful swirly purple colours that we know and love, and I think that if you come down to the event program you can see why, because the first brand on the first day at the opening of the event is in fact Gatak. We have Gatak Apoa, the circles are Banu and Asperia all at the Apex Hall. It also came with a new video, and for anybody who missed those a few new surprises, I took a little time to screenshot them so that we can see exactly what they are. So here's the first one, here's the second one, here is the third one, and here is the final of those screenshots. So it looks like we can see the kind of hard outer shell of a Gatak vehicle, look quite chunky and industrial. Not sure what the red one is. I assume it's part of the same design, because if you look at the top there, you can see a Xi'an thruster in the same shape as the one in the bottom left there. So I guess these could be pieced together into one ship. And then I'm guessing that this is the Xi'an symbol for open or close or enter or exit. It's definitely a Gatak style in the design and the shape of that hexagonal button. And I don't know about you, but I intend to be one of the first people banging down the door at the Tobin Expo Centre to get my hands on my Gatak Raylan. Let's get into it. CIG initially themed a look forward view by checking out the new radar technology they wanted to showcase as a mechanism for showing and selling the Drake Cutter Scout variant. As mentioned, I've already finished a review of this ship, and I personally wouldn't be recommending this as a starter ship for the majority of players. Now that may change when the radar gameplay is added to the game. Next we had the RSI Zeus with similarities to the Space Shuttle and the Starlifter of present. And some people were expecting they would get the original RSI Zeus.
They released the first ship that was kind of available to the mass market that had quantum capability. Getting
a piece of Star Citizen and RSI legacy into their hangars. So it's understandable that there was a little bit of blowback from the community when this is the ship that they ended up getting. A modern adaptation of the RSI Zeus. There are 3 variants, with this, the ES variant being the closest in terms of role to the previous Zeus. A dedicated exploration ship with an enhanced radar and enhanced weaponry and shields. It does, however, have an additional size 2 shield, bringing it up to 4 size 2 shields. Now take into account there will likely be some shield rebalancing as the game moves forward, especially with the implementation and changes of master modes. Incidentally, this ship has the mid-size cargo hold of 64 SCU, allowing it still to be quite a versatile ship. The CL or Clipper variant of the Zeus Mark II is the dedicated cargo hauler. I imagine this may have made some community members unhappy, especially if they'd just invested in the Crusader Spirit C1, as this is a similar size ship but has 128 SCU worth of cargo capacity. This has 1 less shield than the ES variant at 3 size 2 shields, and seems to have the same weapon loadout. The final, most expensive, and perhaps the most interesting variant of the Zeus is the MR version. This ship is a dedicated bounty hunter variant and comes complete with a quantum dampener and an EMP, along with a second turret on the top, as well as the turret that all ships have on the bottom. It has the smallest cargo capacity of all three ships at 16 SCU, however it does also have prisoner pods for captured bounties and a dedicated armory. Will you be picking up an RSI Zeus? And if so, which of these three variants are you most interested in? Next, they teased us a little bit with this graphic here.
The dark blue ones are the ones that will be in your hands by the end of the year.
Then they took some time to torment the Banu merchantman owners.
So, let's talk about something else quickly.
Fortunately, the audience reception to the announcement of Squadron 42 vehicles coming out soon went much better. So it turns out the Idris will be delivered alongside Squadron 42, including all variants. The Javelin will be coming out a little bit later, and all of the updated Vanduul models of the ship will be coming out at the same time as Squadron 42 as well. They also soft spoiled the RSI mining ship, which we now know through spoilers as the Arastra. This was one of my favourite parts of the whole of CitizenCon, so I'm going to let it play out in full and then we'll go through the ships one by one. The first vehicle shown appears to be a small hoverbike of an unknown brand. Based on the picture, we can expect two variants, the smaller of which may even fit in a Pisces. The second vehicle is clearly the X1 by Origin. This comes in three variants, the X1, the X1 Velocity, and the X1 Force, which are the Touring, Racing, and Pathfinder variants respectively. The third is a variant on the Ursa Rover, the fourth is some kind of Argo cargo moving ship. Now the fifth ship is the one that has me the most stumped. It has quite angular lines on it, very similar to an anvil design. It appears to either be dropping or collecting some cargo from the bottom of the ship, and it also appears to have VTOL thrusters at the rear. So my best guess is that this would be an anvil two-person courier ship. I could be completely wrong on this, but that's my guess. From this angle, it could also be very wide, but it's quite difficult to tell. What do you think it is? First impressions of this sixth ship made me think that it was effectively a giant Mirai Fury. It clearly has aspects of Xi'an design, with what appears to be a bubble canopy of some kind, similar to that you would get in the Misk Reliant. The sharp forward-facing wings make me think of the Mirai Fury, and my expectation with no bulky or square thrusters makes me think that it's most likely some kind of Xi'an design. So I wouldn't be surprised if this ended up being either Misk, Mirai, or Gatak in nature, as the brand Gatak is responsible for Xi'an industrial vehicles. To me, this feels a little too large to be a dedicated racing ship, so I'm really not confident on what this ship is. Could this be the Sulen that has been spoiled? I think it's a little bit too big, and my understanding of the Sulen is that it may be a starter ship. Not really sure about this one. What do you think Ship 6 is? Finally, back to a ship I know. This ship is undoubtedly the Anvil Legionnaire, a ship designed specifically for boarding other ships. This will also require some kind of hacking gameplay in order to forcefully open docking ports on other ships. This ship appears to be the RSI Zeus, and the 9th ship is the Aegis Retaliator base. This is the customizable version of the Retaliator torpedo ship that we currently have in game, and good news for those of you who are interested in modularity, as this was supposed to be one of the first modular in-game ships. And finally, last but by no means least, we have the RSI Polaris. I am so excited for this ship, and it will be the military flagship for my fleet. I believe that the coming of the Idris and the Polaris in-game will end up being a fundamental shift of power in the verse, and I can't wait to see this ship and other large and capital ships flying around in the verse. I'd love to hear which ships you are most excited for. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Is that a broken texture? Do you have screen material on your top? Can I have that top? That's kind of weird and kind of cool. Look, that's a caterpillar. There's a caterpillar right there. What on earth is this? There, caterpillar, you see it? That's really strange.